Last week, I gave you 7 ways to tidy when you're overwhelmed while taking on my living room cabinet. With decluttering, people often have decluttering guilt, which is also a huge thing that might stand in the way of continuing when you're overwhelmed. A few things helped me get rid of that guilt completely and made me be able to declutter despite being a hoarder at the time. In this video, I'll share them with you while decluttering, cleaning, and reorganizing my other living room cabinet. A few years ago, I wanted to clear out my attic. There was a lot of stuff and it messed with my head knowing that there were so many things up there. As it turned out, I had a bunch of mousy friends up there too, and it seemed like they've had the time of their lives up there. Even so, I had a lot of issues getting rid of stuff. What if I needed these boxes at some point? What if someday I wanted to use this again? I just couldn't get rid of anything. All of a sudden, I had a thought. It started with thinking how I hadn't used all those things in years. As it was mostly really pretty stuff, I all of a sudden envisioned other people using it. I love helping people, and the thought of making other people happy brings me joy. So there I was, imagining other people with my stuff. And there came the feeling of joy, and there went a bit of the guilt. Selling it wasn't an option for me. I could definitely use the money, but the thought of having to set advertisements, set a price, possibly have discussions over set price, having people over, and possibly trying to change the price again, etc., almost made me quit right then and there. Another downside of my executive functioning issues, I suppose. So I made a decision I mentioned in one of my previous videos. I chose my mental health over my stuff and decided to give it all away for free. Only the useful stuff that wasn't used for the mousy parties, of course. I decided the space it would give me, both physically and mentally, was worth way more than money, despite kind of needing money too. So think about your priorities when decluttering. Thinking about how you would feel so much better without all that stuff and having help others with it probably helps you get rid of a bunch of decluttering guilt. Another thing I hear or read about people always having issues with is how all their stuff costs them money and it feels like throwing out that money. That you already spent the money. The way I see it and experienced it is that it's costing you way more right now when you keep holding on to it. I mean, take this cabinet. It's been full of stuff I don't use for years. It also has stuff I do use. As it's a fight every time to get the stuff out and things are bound to fall out each and every time, it causes me a lot of stress. Even when I don't use it, knowing that it's all there causes me stress. So it cost me money in the past, and on top of that, it's causing me stress right now. And will keep doing so as long as I keep holding on to it. So I think that you should ask yourself with each and every item if the money it cost in the past is worth more than your sanity now. If not, then please let go of both the item and the guilt. Because you really shouldn't feel guilty over prioritizing your mental health. And if you're not ready to make a decision yet for yourself, and you're like me wanting others to be happy, then do it for them. As I'm positive we can be better people when we're happier, and getting rid of all that stuff quite probably will make you happier. But what if I really do need it later? Well, ask yourself what your priority is right now. Maybe you already came to a conclusion with my previous tips and you're all set to go. If not, or if you could use even more reasons and motivation to get rid of your clutter, then here goes. What would you prioritize? Having less clutter and thereby not only making it easier for you to keep your home tidy and clean, but also making you calmer? Or having all those things that you might, possibly, maybe, someday, eventually need in the future, and not being able to make it easier for you to keep your home tidy and clean and make you calmer? Or would having that stuff make you calmer? Would having it make you happier or getting rid of it? Prioritize what feels right for you, because that's all that matters, and it might be different for you than it is for me. Because for me, I just want to get rid of it all, because it really stresses me out each and every day. And I can tell you that having gotten rid of so many things thus far has already made my life much easier and cleaning my home much faster and thus also easier. By the way, if this has been helpful to you thus far, please consider liking this video so I know it helped you and so that it'll be easier for others to find this video too, and for me to get some extra serotonin for feeling useful. And you can of course also subscribe to my channel for more tips on getting our lives on track. And maybe consider how easy it will be for you to buy certain things should you need it someday. I often read about this 20-20 rule. If you can replace it for under $20 within 20 minutes, then toss it. Although I like the idea behind that, I also know that $20 can be a lot of money for a lot of people, and I feel like a lot of people forget about that when talking about this. So I'd like to change that rule into something that works for you. $10 maybe, or $5? Or would you be able to borrow it from someone instead, should the time come when you need it? Or ignore this rule altogether and look at the previous one. Is it really that important that you need to hang on to it? Would you be in trouble if you did need it at some point and you wouldn't have it anymore? Let that guide you into choosing whether or not to keep it. Before I continue, I wanted to quickly ask you something. One of you asked me if my videos could be longer. I tried to keep them around 3 or 4 minutes because I was afraid they'd otherwise contain too much information and would cause you to get bored and or distracted. Now I made this video longer and would like to know if you're happier with longer videos too, or if you'd rather have shorter ones. How many minutes would you consider to be perfect? And would you want them to be full of me giving tips, or would you be okay with there being voice breaks in between with just some decluttering or cleaning sounds? I won't use music for several reasons, mostly being that the noise annoys my ears, having to edit and listen to it over and over again as I'm so sensitive to sound. So it would either be my voice and cleaning sounds, or videos of me talking from the beginning to the end. Please let me know in the comments. I can't promise anything, as I'd have to be able to both film enough shots and have enough to say without adding random stuff, but I would like to know your viewpoint so that I can at least consider the option. So I'm gonna throw in some Marie Kondo in here. Does it spark joy? See, a lot of people talk about how all clutter needs to go. But what is clutter? According to Oxford Languages, it's to cover or fill something with an untidy collection of things. So a requirement of clutter is it being untidy. And not just that. Although Marie Kondo is known to a lot of people for having to get rid of everything, that's not actually the case. If something is useless to others, but for whatever reason sparks joy for you, you should keep it, even according to her, as is explained in her books. So that's why you'll see me putting stuff back in my cabinet that you might see as clutter, yet I'm keeping. It's because it sparks joy for me. The little purple bear that I got life 30 years ago, for example. Or the yellow tea cover thing with the, to me, beautiful quote on it and lovely memories attached to it. Don't feel obligated to get rid of everything. Only get rid of the things that deep down cause you to be more stressed, and that prevent you from enjoying things that do spark joy, as they are covered up by stressful things. You are allowed to be happy. You deserve to be happy. Keep the joy, toss the rest. And also remember that joy doesn't only relate to pretty things. If they help you in any way yet are ugly, they still spark joy as they help you when you need them, like screwdrivers maybe. Although I'm the type of person that doesn't like to think about what if something were to happen to me, because who knows, and that's just not how I want to live, I did feel like I had to consider it for a bit concerning all my stuff. What if something did happen to me? Would I want my relatives to deal with all my stuff on top of their loss? Stuff that I didn't even use, mind you, so they shouldn't even have to clean up to begin with? To me, it's different if it's stuff I actually used, and I bet it would be different for them too. But having to clean up stuff I obviously wasn't using? So that too helped me get rid of some of the decluttering guilt. I think I started decluttering about 2 years ago and then did nothing for about a year. I then had a major decluttering phase until, again, I didn't do much for about a year. Now I finally feel like the end is in sight, and I can tell you it has made my life a lot easier. Now I'm not a doctor or psychologist or anything like that, but I'm positive the current state of my home has helped me with my busy mind. Although it's still busy, it's different. And I'm just positive it'll be even better when everything is decluttered, organized, and clean. Because then I can open my cabinets without stuff falling out and stressing me out. I can find stuff without having to look for ages because not only do they have their own home, but there's also nothing blocking them from me to be able to get to them. And I'll only have stuff that spark joy, because the stuff that causes stress will be gone. I hope we will all get there someday, and I hope this video will help you with that. Please let me know in the comments if it did, and like the video so that I'll know it did, and it'll help others find this video. If you haven't seen the video of me taking all my other cabinet yet, with my tips of helping you when you're overwhelmed, then you might want to watch that one next. I'll put it on the screen after this video ends. I hope you'll have a lovely rest of your day. Bye.